Every Live2Ds game released has some sort of gimmick. At first, just having interactions was the gimmick. Since 2023, it has become a standard for Live2Ds games to have some level of interactivity, and I have already taken a look at some of them. I do own a lot of skins, but obviously not every Live2D to ever exist. In this video, I will go over some of the standard interactions that almost every Live2D has, and after that, I'll go over some of my preferred interactions of particular skins, some of which made me buy them. What I first saw on Kishida's third Live2D has become rather common. Tapping a particular object can bring up a sub-menu with up to 5 pose options. Musashi's Live2D stands out as it gives you 6 options, as 0 also counts in this equation. Some skins may randomize the pose for you, others might give you a preview or let you quickly change between them. My personal picks would be how Anchorage and Albion do them in their Chinese New Year Live2Ds. On a similar topic of changing poses is being able to choose between different emotions, typically also 5 or 6. It does vary a bit more from skin to skin. Anchorage's default, for example, is 0, with 2 being the most lustful and 5 being the most hateful. Same for Illustrious. Musashi's default expression, however, is 2, with 5 being the most lustful and 0 being the most hateful. Kearsarge uses a slider with the same values. It's up to you to decide if you'd like to alter the expression they make. This became quite common early on. Early 2023 Live2Ds, like with Elm, had implemented basic pullable clothing, though even by then, this was a very basic level of interaction. More advanced skins, or Shimagasi's White Rabbit skin, had clothing that would stay put if you decided to mess with it. In some cases, like Napoli and Musashi, you didn't do it through tapping and dragging on the character. I always move Musashi's fishnets, that's done through a separate interface. Funnily enough, you can add shoes to her feet, which is done by tapping on her. Those are all the rather common interactions. Now I'm going to list off less common gimmicks of certain skins that I find interesting. In order to get to certain settings, you have to correctly go through light puzzles testing Anchorage's brain power. Here's the first one. You connect the bamboo shoot to the gunpowder and the candle to the box. Once there, you can change what happens in the background, either a sea of lanterns or a plethora of fireworks. And the second one. You have to assist Anchorage in this subtraction equation, which can be random in selection. Get it right and you're taken to the pose and emotion selectors, which I detailed already. When choosing what pose you want in Musashi's skin, you do it by shooting a water gun at the targets, or trying to anyway, to increase your score. The angle and how she shoots are quite reminiscent of fellow gacha game Nikkei. Funnily enough, Musashi in Angel Lane is about as old as the game itself. It appears some devs realised that people were watching guides for skins unironically, so for Strasbourg and Sirius's Live2Ds, there's an icon you can tap which brings out all relevant interactions available. This is quite useful as Avogadro changes what can be done on the fly, and depending on where you are, there can be multiple things you can do or have one interaction develop into a new one, complex enough that listing off all of them would require one hell of a flowchart. Instead of a glimmer spot, the spot to bring up for interactions is often better integrated into the design. For Sirius, it's reminds you of the stage framework. For Strasbourg, it's the cup of her headphones. I find these implementations more impressive than the standard 5-pose selector. One of the weirder interactions in my opinion is the ability to change the stocking/patiho's colour. I've seen this on 3 skins so far, Kearsarge, Musashi and Shenru. The latter 2 have the same issue to me, being that all the colour options are quite muted and thus don't make a major change visually. Kearsarge's implementation is considerably better since there are lighter colours you can choose from. And here's the final one I'll talk about. This interaction is exclusive to Alsace, and in contrast to the rest of the skin, is super playful. Tap within the circle area to pass the ball back to Alsace. The timing is very loose. Tapping outside the circle area is classed as a miss and will end the interactivity. I wasn't someone who saw Live2Ds as massive step-ups from regular skins before. Yeah, you got a unique headpat animation, and the special touch could be vaguely entertaining, but not enough to justify a 300 gem premium over a static skin. That's no longer the case. Each so-called gimmick a Live2D skin has means there's more to play around with on the secondary screen, which was redesigned to let these skins forever flourish. All the Live2Ds feel bound by comparison, regardless of how nice the designs are. My favourite out of the ones I own? Anchorage's Moonlit Boat Ride. You heard me. Now it's your turn. What is your favourite modern Live2D skin and your favourite interaction from it? The comment section is there. See you next time.